sure do. Okay, I sure do. Hold on, hold on.
She's good.
Yes. Please.
I call him to work.
Yeah.
Meeting's all over.
Okay. All right, everyone, how are you all today? Okay, I have Commissioner Catherine McKnight on the line. Go ahead and state where you are, Ms. McKnight.
Yes, I'm out of county.
Okay, but she will be with us on the speakerphone, okay? Just to listen, okay? All right, so today, the Augusta, Georgia Planning Commission is a recommended body. The final decision on all zoning matters coming before it will be made by the Augusta Commission on Tuesday, September the 17th, 2024 at 2 p.m. in the Augusta Commission chambers at the municipal building. A handout describing the zoning procedures on which these cases are decided is available upon request. These procedures also require that any applicant for a rezoning action or any opponent to an application for a rezoning action who has made contributions aggregating $250 or more to a local government official within 2 years of the rezoning application to file a disclosure report within the government authority. The disclosure report must be filed within 10 calendar days of filing the application and at least 10 calendar days prior to today's hearing. A minimum of 10 minutes shall be afforded for the presentation of data, evidence, and opinions on each side of a rezoning position or a special exception. If more than 10 minutes is afforded to one side, then an equal amount of time shall be afforded to the other side. The commission encourages participation in this hearing, and there is no restriction on who may address the commission within the allotted time. We just ask that all comments be brief, on subject and non-repetitive, and directed to the commission, not to any individual or group.
Thank you. First case?
Mr. Chairman, we have 6 items on the agenda today. To advise you that for everyone here, item number 1, Z-24-26, a petition by Thomas Hyman on behalf of Zenith Brake State Holdings LLC that's requesting a rezoning from R2 to R1E, is requesting another postponement until the October meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Can you say another,
Well,
the third?
I believe October, the meeting is the 7th.
This is,
Right, but this one, they requested the continuance before the 10-day notice, so there's no action needed by this board.
and this is their first request to postpone.
Right, for item number 1, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and then item number 3, I'd like to recommend that you address that one next, as staff has been informed that the applicant is going to request withdrawal of the application.
Sounds good?
Move to approve without prejudice.
Second.
All in favor of the approval to withdraw application Z-2430, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. All right, thank you.
All right, so we're to item number 2, Z-24-29, a petition by Hatchaway LLC requesting a rezoning from R1A, one family residential, to Zone B1, neighborhood business, affecting a portion of the property containing approximately 0.61 acres located at 3363 Ravenwood Drive. Tax map parcel number 016-0-101-00-0. And seeing that this case was originally my case, I will present staff's report. As stated, the application is to rezone the western portion of approximately 0.24 acres of the larger 0.61 acre property from R1A to B1 due to unauthorized expansion of an existing business located at 150 Davis Road. The business at Davis Road is located behind the existing house on the property. There is an open code enforcement case on the business located at 150 Davis Road. The business has expanded into the R1A zoned portion of the property, which is related to this rezoning petition. There are no prior zoning actions for the property. The applicant is the owner of the properties both at 3363 Ravenwood Drive and 150 Davis Road, as Hatchaway LLC purchased the Ravenwood Drive property in December of 2023. The property has access to public water and sewer. According to the Georgia Department of Transportation State Functional Classification Map, Davis Road is a minor arterial and Ravenwood Drive is a local road. Public transit is available on Davis Road. According to the FEMA flood insurance rate maps, the property is not located within a special flood hazard area. And according to the Richmond County GIS map player, there are no wetlands located on the property. The adjacent properties to the north and east are zoned R1A, single family or one family residential, with existing single family homes located on them. To the south, there are two different zoning districts. The eastern portion of the south property line is zoned R1A with an existing single family residence. The western portion of the south property line is zoned B1, where the existing business wants to expand into the subject property. The adjacent property to the west is zoned B1 and R3B multifamily residential, and then also B2 general business. There are 5 shipping containers and 3 large metal canopies located on the property under consideration for this rezoning application. And staff has received numerous calls and inquiries concerning this rezoning application, including commissioners, as of the completion of this report. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
If you would just give us a brief overview, give us your name and address for the record, please.
I would ask, excuse me, my name is Jim Trotter. I represent the owner, Hatchaway. Rick Katz is here, the owner of Good Earth. I would ask the staff if I can either use a flash drive to pull a different image up or use this overhead projector, either one.
Right.
Or they're working, it may not be. Okay. Just come on. I'll plug this in and see if I've gotten it to work before.
Okay.
Yep, there we go.
Pop up and turn. Include this, maybe.
I don't know if the staff can switch it to see the image I've got up on my screen.
It's one of these buttons. Try this one. Yeah, it's one of these ones.
There we go.
Let's see. It's gonna
Maybe.
pop up.
It's either
Try the next one.
it's either PCD, it might be that one.
Yeah,
There we go.
Okay.
And the good news is the mouse looks like it'll work up there too. So I do want to clear up a few things. First of all, I do represent Mr. Rick Katz. He's here on the front row. He's the owner of Good Earth. And as it was mentioned in the pre-meeting, yes, his business has been successful and has been growing, fortunately. That has required him to expand somewhat. And he purchased this lot, this house on Ravenwood Drive that we're here to talk about. And he did make a mistake in that he put these containers out there without seeking approval for rezoning or any approval from the planning department. For that, he apologizes. He was not aware that he needed to do so. He did, however, I want to clear something up, talk to the neighbor on either side, this neighbor above him at 3361 and the neighbor to the south at 3365. He had extensive communications with them before doing any of this, and as a result, they approved it. They asked him to increase the height of his fence to shield it, which he did, and he will need to go get a variance for his fence height as well. So he recognizes that that fence height that you may have seen if you went out there is an issue as well. The other thing I want to clear up here at the outset is that after consultation with Director Delaney yesterday afternoon, we are only seeking to rezone this back portion. And by that, you can see where I'm moving my mouse right there. So it's this rear portion to line up with this existing property line. It appears that, and I believe the Ravenwood subdivision, when it was laid out originally, these houses did go all the way back. They were converted to commercial some years ago. We are seeking to just extend this line to here, and he would relocate the containers that are currently on that property, and I'll pull up another image to show you that. He would relocate them. You can see that right now this is an as-built plat showing those. It's actually 5 containers. He could relocate them over here. We recognize that there are setback issues as well. But instead of seeking to rezone up to this fence line where that mouse is, we are asking that the line be pushed back to this line here and the containers moved. We believe that that would be the best result for the neighborhood as well. Mr. Katz is a neighborhood business. He wants to be a good neighbor. He wants to sell to all the people in the Ravenwood subdivision. Most of them are good customers already. He has to take further steps to try to remedy the situation. I don't know if any of you went out there in the last week or 10 days. He's painted all of the containers a dark green color so that they are less visible. They're not old, white, and rusted anymore. You know, the alternative here, he needs the storage for his business. The alternative here, if he were to not get this, is he's got to relocate those containers back on here on his B1 property, which impacts his parking, but still has the same problem of them being visible and up adjacent to the Ravenwood subdivision. If he is allowed to rezone this back area, he gets to tuck them back here in the corner, and he can abide by the conditions that the staff has suggested to screen them and to lower the height of the shed between I think there's 2 sheds out there between them. He can lower the height of that so that they're no higher than the house. The other alternative is, and we don't really want to go there, is if he had to move the sheds all together and wasn't allowed to use this for those sheds, he potentially could end up placing them down here closer to Toucan Road or other areas where they're more visible to the entrance of the subdivision. And we just believe that for all involved, it's cleaner and better if they're tucked back in this corner. And that appropriate conditions are put on them. One, to keep them limited to the use for this business, to control the height and the view of them, to control some screening there, and leave, we are seeking to leave this area residential. He's not seeking to convert that. We're not taking the house down. There's a tenant in that house right now. We're not seeking to change the use of that house whatsoever, or to relocate it, or to have a back entrance or anything like that. One of the, before the discussion begins, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions, one of the conditions on the staff report, if this body were to approve it, is that he go get a review and approval from the engineering department for some potential stormwater issues. That would, before the final approval from the Augusta Commission, that's probably going to take a little bit of time. So this, if by chance this body finds approval to do this back area, we would ask that that the approval actually be sent to the Augusta Commission for their October 1st meeting, not the September 17th meeting, so that we have time to go to the engineering department and address whatever concerns they may have. I spoke to Director Delaney about that yesterday, and she was fine with that suggestion as well. Again, Mr. Katz is here to be a good neighbor. I understand former Commissioner Clark is here as well to voice his opinion on it. We spoke to neighbors on either side. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, but they were supportive of him placing the containers there. And he's here to do whatever is reasonable to shield these and keep Ravenwood a residential subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you. Are any people here opposed to this petition?
Wait, keep your hands up. We also have signatures from other neighbors who are not here.
I'm sorry?
We have signatures from other neighbors in the neighborhood who are not present.
Just signatures?
Signatures, yes, sir.
Okay, if you,
A petition.
okay, a petition. if you'll bring that forward to the staff, and they can send it to the, if any of the planning commissioners want to look at it. Have you appointed a spokesman?
Pardon?
Have you appointed a spokesman from your group?
I think I wanted to speak. Come on up.
Okay, okay.
Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon.
Ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can we get your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, it's Elaine Henry, 3344 Ravenwood Drive, Augusta, 30907.
Thank you. And do you have 10 minutes? Are you planning on taking the full 10 minutes, or are you going to spread it out among your?
I don't know if it'll take me 10 minutes to say what I need to say.
Welcome to use all of it. What happens is you'll use 10 minutes and then somebody will stand up. So you're
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Go ahead. Thank you.
First of all, I have lived in my house for 27 years. And in those 27 years, it's always been a real nice, quiet neighborhood, and it's never been commercial, never. It's residential, and the pictures that your attorney, I don't remember his name. The pictures that he showed you didn't clarify. I mean, you can't even tell what's what about the vision of the containers that he has put in the back behind his house. I live directly across the street. And when I look out my window, when I go out in my yard, all I can see are these ugly, huge containers. And now he's painted them, he said, a dark green, which he did, thinking that he could hide them. I mean, I don't know if we're supposed to think they're trees or what, and I'm not being ugly, but I'm just saying to look out my front door or my front window or go out in my yard and see this on a daily basis is disgusting. And first of all, I don't understand how you can have a house. He bought the house and took the backyard of this house and turned it into a business even before these meetings. And he even told myself and my husband that he had been fined for doing so without permission to do it. But he never moved them. He still has not taken the fence down that he put up that was illegal, and which is also an ugly sight. And all of us who live in that neighborhood that I've talked to, and the only reason I don't have more signatures than I do today is because of my health, because I'm not able to walk. I did canvass the neighborhood along with some help from another neighbor, and I did as many as I could, but we are just real upset because we do not want our neighborhood to become a commercial neighborhood. I mean, the value of our house right now, if we tried to sell our house, I don't even know what we could get, but it would be a lot less than what we could have gotten, I can tell you that. And there's a lot of other things that, I mean, I know that his business has grown. I mean, I saw it when it started out, when it was just tables on a dirt or gravel parcel. And he was always very nice and very friendly, and we enjoyed shopping there. But I know things change and progress happens, but I don't have a problem with, and I can't speak for the rest of them because that was thrown on us today about moving his containers to the side facing Toucan, we don't have a problem with that, because then I don't have to look out my window, and neither do they, and see those containers every day. And he's talking about lowering them, but he's got flyovers, or whatever you call them, that are taller than the house, and those are also an ugly sight. So he told me and my husband that he didn't even think about contacting us. I mean, he says he talked to the neighbor on each side of the house that he purchased, and they were both in agreement with it. However, I have a signature from one of those houses in opposition to that, and also verbal from the one on the other side. And he didn't see the need to talk to us that live across the street. I don't understand that. I mean, it's like our opinions didn't count. And I don't think he thought about it before he did it. And I don't see how he can say he's being a good neighbor. That's not a good neighbor. I mean, I know he's got to have room, but his attorney told my husband that those containers are used for storage, but that's not part of the business. Well, it's his merchandise that's in the containers, so that is a business being run on illegal property. And we're asking you, all of us here today that are opposed to it, and the ones on the signatures that I got, are asking y'all to please take into consideration that we do not want our nice, quiet neighborhood turned into a commercial neighborhood. And if somebody else wants to speak, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, you got about a little over 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, I'm gonna summarize it real fast. Good day, everybody. My name is Michael J. Williams. I live at 3330 Ravenwood Drive. I first bought my home in Ravenwood in 1984. Clean neighborhood, quiet neighborhood. Really enjoyed it. All my kids was grown there. Got grandkids that comes around. Quiet neighborhood. People walk the dogs. I just got one question for the board. He bought this house in December of 23. He started performing certain tasks. How did the task get performed before it came to the commission?
We can't answer that right now, but
Okay.
that may come out.
Second question. I do know this gentleman here because I go to his store and shop probably 3 or 4 times a week. So I do know him. So we have a good relationship. Like the lady said, I knew it when it was a little small store. But my biggest issue was it's just this icon. When you go down the street, first thing you see is stacked containers, and then you see a big old carport. Then you see a big 20-foot fence going down, and I think our neighborhood is better than that. And my only feedback of it is think we could come to some kind of solution where we can bring the containers down. I don't know what we can do with the fence. That'd be something that maybe the commissioners and us in the neighborhood could talk about. But I think we're willing to compromise. But my biggest issue is that he asked the neighbor to the left and lady to the right. Well, what about the residents across the street, around the corner? You know, y'all built townhouses on Ravenwood Drive, and y'all came through and did a survey and asked us what we thought about before you built them townhouses down on Ravenwood Drive. That's all we asking is the same respect. So I understand he has a good business, but my first priority is to take care of my neighborhood so my grandkids and great-grandkids, whoever's born, can stay there and have a good time. So with y'all help, you know, I hope we can all get together and work this solution out, because it's just an icon. It's just really bad. And I don't want to say anything about him because, like I say, I know him. And we talk all the time. He helped me with my fruit trees, lemon trees. So he's a good person. I just think we need to just get together and come to a solution where it can be suitable for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the commission?
got one, Mr. Chairman. To the staff, Mr. Kipner, so the attorney tried to mention a few things, a couple of those things being the lessened acreage that they want rezoned, also the fence height. Is that captured in the approval recommendations?
Yes, sir. Should the board move to approve the zoning request, condition number 1, the property owner shall combine the approximately 0.16 acre portion being rezoned at 3363 Ravenwood Drive to the property located at 150 Davis Road.
Okay. I just want to make sure what he was suggesting about the being at that line to bring it more aligned with the adjacent properties, that was reflected. So, recommendations.
Commissioner? My question, based on what one of the neighbors said, is about the possibility with the neighbor of moving all the containers to that back corner and keeping enough greenery and below so it wouldn't be so obvious what's over there. Is that possible?
Well, yes, if this board were to rezone that back corner, the 0.16 acres, then all the containers have to come off of where they are now. They're pushed further back from the street. And what we've offered to do is that what they referred to as those carport structures that are between two of the containers, reduce the height of those.
And so none of that would be visible to the neighborhood, or?
I can't say definitively it's not visible to the neighborhood. It would be less visible than it is now because it would be pushed back, and the height of, not the container height can't be changed, but the carport cover structure between them can be reduced. But and we think tucking them, like I said, back in this corner here makes them less visible than if they were just moved out to where they are, or to his existing B1 property. Because if you line them all up right here and reconfigure what's here now, they could be just as visible from Ravenwood as opposed to putting them back here.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Go ahead. It sounds to me that maybe it may be beneficial for the petitioner to request for a postponement for 30 days while he talks to the neighborhood association or the neighborhood. Is that something the petitioner may be willing to do?
I tried to have a conversation did have a conversation with Mr. Sasser in advance of this meeting. We did talk to the neighbor across the street a few weeks ago. If this board recommends a 30-day delay to continue to talk to the neighbors, we're certainly willing to do that and come up with a reasonable plan.
Commissioner?
I'm in agreement with that, but I wanted to ask the homeowners if they were, I know they said they were compromised, so are you okay with moving those containers in the back portion that he's talking about?
No, he's raised the entire backyard when he took the property over. So no matter what you do, I have a 2-story house. I live right across.
Can't hear you. Can you come to the mic, please?
Yeah. Okay. Here. Good afternoon. My name is Mike Henry.
Name and address.
Mike Henry. I live at 3344 Ravenwood Drive. I'm Rick's immediate neighbor across the street. I have a 2-story house. No matter what he does with those containers, if I go upstairs into my 2nd story and look down, it's a worse view than it is looking straight out of the house across the street. I've invited Rick. I believe I also invited his attorney to both come out, stand in my front yard, see what I see every time I go out in the front yard. It is horrible. He razzed all of the trees, all of the shrubbery and everything in the backyard when he started this project. So no matter what happens, I can stand on my front porch and see Davis Road. Couldn't used to do that. So it's really made our neighborhood unsightly since they started this. And without him speaking to any of us other than the 2 immediate neighbors, it really ticked us all off that he did it without anybody's permission. I realize that's his house, he can do what he wants to with it, but it affected the entire neighborhood. It's like my wife told you, our house lost several $1,000s in value because of it. Now I'm stuck in that house for the rest of my life.
So let me ask you one other question. You know, he's able to put those containers somewhere else on that front property. Would you rather see it there?
Out by Toucan, out on the road, is that what he's talking about?
Yes, sir.
I don't have to see him out there. My ultimate goal for myself and all of our neighbors is that we don't have to look at that any longer. Those flyovers need to come down below the level of the house too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner? Wait just a minute, please, sir.
This is a question for the petitioner. Is the petitioner willing to put up a buffer from the view from across the street of Raven so they can kind of screen what's in the backyard?
Absolutely. It's just a matter of what type of buffer. And if I could make one other point to the gentleman's concern, if the flyovers or the carport sheds they're referring to, if the containers are moved back to where the B1 property is now, then there's no height restriction on that flyover, and it can go up higher if he needs to.
It's because you've cut down all the trees.
Well, but if they are allowed to remain in this back area, then this commission can put restrictions on those height and keep the level down where it's below the level of the house.
Thank you, sir. Any other commissioners have a comment?
So to clarify my question, the petitioner is willing to put up a buffer so the view from Ravenwood is changed?
Yeah, if it's talking about a landscape buffer, yes.
Yeah, landscape buffer, evergreen or something, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I've got a question for the...
He's in the tree business, Commissioner Cooks.
Man, it's getting ready to leave.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go to a commissioner's question first.
Okay.
Sorry, sir, but do you think a discussion would be beneficial for all, or do you think we're past that?
I'm not sure whether the neighbors would buy off on anything that he's willing to do right now. He asked me about that when I talked to Rick about 6 weeks ago. I told him I'm 73 years old. I'll be dead before those trees get tall enough for me not to be able to look at those containers. Even if he has to put them, and he explained to me what would happen if he moved them back on his property. He would have to put 3 of them, one on top of the other, and yes, I would see them from my house no matter what he does with them. But he also acknowledged that because he cut down all the trees, that would make my view of what's going on over there a whole lot clearer. Had he left the vegetation, the trees, and the shrubbery there, we wouldn't be seeing those containers, even if he stacked them 3 high. It's like I said earlier, I can see Ravenwood or Davis Road from my front porch now. I couldn't used to until he cut down the trees. So what has happened has been caused by his doing.
Thank you.
I have
Any other
question? So that could be a possibility of moving the containers to face Toucan Drive.
Well, Commissioner Spencer, do you mean moving them way down here on this corner, or moving them here and turning them so that they face down?
I think that
I've got this
putting them on a
block.
corner closer to the Toucan Drive, so when people come in on Toucan, it's a commercial, looks more.
It's a possibility. It's not ideal. We don't believe for anybody. It's not ideal for where he'd like to store stuff out of.
The neighbors just said they were comfortable with that.
I understand.
I'm just wanting something that would work out for your client and for the neighbors.
If it's denied, he will have to explore other options to where to put those containers. We don't believe that that's ideal for the view of the business as a whole from the street, from the public, and his idea was to put these storage containers back away from the view of his customers and the public, and to keep them as discreet as storage containers can be.
Any further questions? Staff recommendation?
Planning and Development staff recommends denial of the rezoning request as it does not comply with Section 13 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. However, should the board move to approve the rezoning request, staff will recommend the following conditions. Number one, the property owner shall combine the approximately 0.16 acre portion being rezoned at 3363 Ravenwood Drive to the property located at 150 Davis Road. Number two, a 6-foot privacy fence shall be installed along the north and east property lines of the portion being rezoned that is adjacent to the properties zoned R1A. Number three, the shipping containers and metal canopies shall be moved to comply with the setback requirements of B1 zoning, or a variance will need to be applied for and approved. Number four, the portion of the property zoned B1 will not be accessed through the residential community. And number five, no structures or any portion of the roof shall exceed the height of the residence. Number six, a tree buffer 20 feet deep shall be established along the portion of the property zoned and used residentially. The tree shall be a species from the Augusta Tree Ordinance and be medium to large large species with 4-foot separation between. Number seven, the property owner shall consult with the Augusta Engineering Department to address stormwater impact and comply with any potential improvements to the receiving system prior to final approval by the Augusta Commission at the October 1st meeting. And number eight, the development of the property should comply with all development standards and regulations set forth by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia, as amended at the time of any development. And that concludes staff's recommendations.
Are there any questions from the commission on the recommendations being made?
I make a motion for denial.
I'd like to make a substitute motion.
Second.
Second to the substitute motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this petition with the conditions recommended by staff.
Commissioner, the neighborhood was willing to work with him, and he's worried about his business and how it looks to his business, but not about the residential neighborhood that's there. I don't see how.
I totally agree, but he's also a local small business owner who's been successful. And I think that we should not be so quick to deny him an opportunity to expand. And you're right. I think that there is some space for compromise. And
Please, no comments.
My motion is for denial.
But I substitute motion.
I second.
You can discuss.
We got a second, we got a substitute motion on the floor.
Take the substitute motion first. Right?
Okay, so there's a substitute motion by Poozer and Cooks to approve with staff recommendations. Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote.
Roll call.
All right, so Commissioner O'Neill, how do you, I'm sorry.
Before we vote, just remember that this is a substitute motion, right? So if this passes, the only thing that happens is the motion to denial is replaced with the motion to approve. Correct. And then you have to vote again. So this is not the final vote. Right.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. So Commissioner O'Neill, how do you vote?
O'Neill.
Chair, I would like to tender a substitute motion.
I can't hear you.
You can't. Why can't I?
You gotta take action on this motion first.
Well, but wouldn't my substitute motion take precedent over the current substitute motion?
No, you cannot.
Attorney?
Robert's rules only allows for one substitute motion on the floor at a time. This substitute motion has to be resolved prior to any other substitute motion that can be made.
Okay, let's go back to the votes on the substitute motion. There's one.
Deny.
Commissioner Prince?
Denied.
Commissioner Davis?
Denied.
Commissioner Cooks?
Approve.
Commissioner Malice?
Approve.
Commissioner Poozer?
Approve.
Commissioner McKnight? Commissioner Clark? Approve. Commissioner Owens?
Approve.
And Commissioner Spencer?
Deny.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sonny get the vote on this?
So it goes to the chair. I've got 5-4 on the motion, which means that if the chair votes no, the motion fails. So the vote goes to the chair. You vote yes, the substitute motion passes, and the motion to approve goes for a main vote. You vote no, the motion for substitute fails, we go to the vote for deny, or you can abstain, at which point the motion for substitute passes, we vote on the motion.
I never abstain.
I thought it was 5-5.
It's 5-5.
It's 5-5?
Or would he have to?
Okay, same.
Yeah, he's the other.
Same principal chair.
I thought it would. I vote no. I vote to deny.
So the motion on the floor is the original motion for denial.
And I just had a.
Second.
Okay.
It's already been seconded.
Who seconded first? I had
I
Spencer.
had already seconded.
Okay, so there's a motion now on the floor to deny the petition Z2429. That's with Commissioner Spencer and Commissioner Davis for denial. Another roll call vote, guys, okay?
Chair
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
and attorney, now can a second substitute motion be put in?
Now would be appropriate to make a substitute motion, yes.
My motion is to delay this proceeding and give the petitioner in the neighborhood 30 more days to come to a resolution and bring it back to us if they can work it out themselves.
I second that.
Okay, so we have another motion on the floor, substitute motion by Commissioner O'Neill and seconded by Commissioner Prince to postpone Z2429 until our October, I think it's 7th meeting. Okay? Another roll call vote, guys.
Just as a thing, this is, so normally this is a parliamentary procedure. This is not a motion for substitute, this is a flat postpone motion. Because it's not resolving the underlying agenda item, but kind of tabling it until a date certain. So this is a privileged motion over the main motion, and therefore, if you pass it, this is the final vote on the postponement. This is not a motion for substitute, because it's not resolving the underlying agenda item, so sorry.
That's fine. That's why we have you, Attorney Miller. Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner O'Neill, how do we vote on the postponement? Commissioner Cooks? Commissioner Spencer? Commissioner Prince?
Approved.
Commissioner Davis?
Approved.
Commissioner Malice?
Approved.
Commissioner Poozer?
Approved.
Okay. Commissioner Clark?
Approved.
Commissioner McKnight?
Approved.
And Commissioner Owens? All right, so Z2429 has been postponed to October the meeting.
Thank you. You ready for the next case?
All right, agenda item number 4, Z-24-31, a petition by Reed Forsley requesting a rezoning from Zone P1 Professional Office to Zone R1C, One Family Residential, affecting property containing approximately 0.17 acre located at 803 Metcalf Street, tax map number 035-3-357-00-0, and staff will present.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Catterton. I'm Development Services Administrator for Planning and Development. This petition seeks to rezone 0.
Wait a minute. Gentlemen. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
This petition seeks to rezone 0.17 acres. The property contains a single-family residence that is approximately 1,423 square feet and was built in 1929. The request is to change the zoning from P1, professional use, to R1C, one-family residential, and is to continue to utilize the property as residential. It is located in the old Augusta character area, and again, this property was rezoned in 1987 from R1C, one-family residential, to P1 professional to establish a dental laboratory. According to section 11(1)B, every lot in the R1C zone shall have a minimum width of 60 feet and a minimum area of 6,000 square feet. The property is approximately 50 feet wide and approximately 7,405 square feet in area. The property is located right outside of the historic Somerville area and is part of the Harrisburg neighborhood. The adjacent zoning to this parcel is a mix of B1, neighborhood business, and R1C, one family residential. According to the FEMA flood insurance rate maps, the property is not located within a special flood hazard area, and this property is not located in any wetlands. Public water and sewer are present, and per the GDOT functional classification map, Metcalf Street is considered a local road. And as of August 9th, staff has not received inquiries regarding this petition, and that concludes staff's presentation at this time.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present?
Yes, sir.
Would you come up and give us your name and address, please, sir? Please, sir. Just a little introduction about, a few minutes about your petition.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Reed Forsley. I live at 803 Metcalf Street, Augusta, Georgia, 30904. I made a couple notes to make sure I say the right stuff. Just basically, I'm looking to sell my house. The deal is supposed to close Friday, contingent on hopefully an approval from you guys, or a recommendation for approval. It was originally under contract in June to close in July. The buyers were using a VA loan, and the VA caught the discrepancy with the zoning. And so just some background is that the house, as was mentioned, was rezoned in '87 to be for dental business of some sort. It was then sold in the early 90s, and I forget the year, I think it was 93, 94, 99 again, 09, 2020, that was me, all as single family residential. It had never been caught. So I'm just asking that you guys help me out with this problem I've inherited, and so I could close this sale of my house, because right now I'm kind of living between two places, and it's getting kind of expensive. So if you guys could help me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. But I think that really just covers it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone opposed to this petition? Hearing none, any questions from the commission?
Oh, could I say one more thing? Sure. I forgot. This is actually important. For that deal Friday, is it possible to get something in writing either today or tomorrow that just says it's been recommended for approval? I understand it's not going to be actually approved, but it is to my understanding, if I have something that says it's recommended for approval, I can finally close this deal. So is that possible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe we can get you a letter before Friday.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is very relieving.
No one's opposed or no commission questions. Are we ready to vote? I'm sorry, staff recommendation.
Planning and Development staff recommends approval of the request to rezone from P1 to R1C.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor of the approval of Z 2431, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right, thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
You're welcome.
Where do I get that letter? Oh, okay. It was just thank you.
Agenda item number 5, SE 24-13, a petition by Sid Hone on behalf of Greater, I still can't pronounce this word, Apostolic Temple, requesting a special exception to construct a church parking lot affecting properties containing approximately 1.18 acres located at 3002, 3004, and 3006 Green Forest Drive, Zone R1C. And staff will present.
Ryan Jones, Planner 1. The applicant is requesting a special exception to establish a church parking lot in a residential neighborhood. According to the 2023 update to the comprehensive plan, this property is located within the South Augusta character area. These properties are located at the entrance to Green Forest Village subdivision. The properties are currently zoned R1C, that's a one-family residential zone. The properties located at 3004 and 3006 Green Forest Drive each have an open code enforcement case for their use not being allowed by right in their current zoning. According to section 11.2b of the comprehensive zoning ordinance, public parking areas when located and developed as in section 4 and where the area adjoins a use other than provided for in the R1 zone, provided such transitional use does not extend more than 100 feet from the boundary of the less restricted zone. Those public parking areas are allowed via special exception. The proposed parking lot is less than 100 feet away from adjoining R1C property. According to section 26.1 of the zoning ordinance, special exceptions may be permitted in any zone where such uses are deemed essential or desirable to the public convenience or welfare and are in harmony with the various elements or objectives of the master plan or planning document in effect. The establishment of a church parking lot at the entrance to a residential neighborhood is not essential or desirable to the public convenience. It is additionally not in alignment with various elements or objectives of the comprehensive plan. As of the writing of this report, staff have received several complaints from the community regarding the petition. No particular comments were provided from the engineering or utilities departments regarding the petition. That concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? If you will step up to one of the microphones and we'll get your name and address and just a brief summary of what you want us to do.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Sid Hone. I live at 544 Oconee Circuit in Evans, Georgia. I've been a member of Greater Apostolic Holy Temple Church since 1992. And the church been there longer than that. The church been in that community for over 40 years. The houses that we are petitioned to remove, we have called Richmond County several times because the houses have been broken into. And also we have called them because of hoarders in the houses. But the real reason we would like to get put a parking lot there because we had one of our prominent members pass away, and we had parking, people coming from all over the state. In other states, and we just ran out of parking, and then we started parking them in the house, our churchyard. The houses, parking the cars in the yards and on the street. And we was challenged by some gentleman come by and block the road. But let me read what I wrote down while you all was conducting your other business. The houses at 302, 3002, 3004, 3006. We have called Richmond County because the houses have been broken into, called to remove hoarders. The reason for this petition is to remove in the event of funerals, church events, keeping vehicles off the streets, which is a safety hazard concern. One of our longtime members passed away that was well known to the community. We conducted his funeral at the church, so we parked cars on the street and on the side. Someone came and blocked the street so that no vehicles could come in to the neighborhood nor leave the neighborhood. So we're part of the community also, and we just do good. You know, we not, it's just making a parking lot. The three houses are right there to get together, and if we need to monitor, that's fine. Matter of fact, we use Richmond County every Sunday now to monitor the church while we having service. So if that need to be, that's fine. But the parking lot is much needed. The parking lot is much needed. It's there's nowhere to park. It's nowhere to park, and it's on the other side of the church. It's a waterway, so to speak. So we just don't have any parking, and we willing to tear down those three houses, which is I know two of them bought and paid for, and we willing to go through great deals just to get parking lot there, to have a parking lot there, so we can, we still serve. We try to serve the community. We're not trying to,
I think we got the idea.
Okay, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Anyone opposed to this petition? If you have a spokesman, you just want one at a time, or okay, sir, if you'll give us your name and address and your. I'm sorry, you ever get a count? Commissioner, do you have a question? Good on the count?
Raise your hands again. Everybody who is opposed to this petition, please raise your hand and keep it raised.
Sir?
My name is James Williams, and I live at 3408 Pine Hill Road. And I am, not only do we have those persons present, but I have a signed petition of 37 names of residents who lives within and who are residents in the community that I'd like to present as a matter of record. May I?
You can keep on with it if you don't mind some of your comments.
We've been a resident of Green Forest a half a century. I say a half a century just to make it sound like, you've been a long time. In other words, 50 years as a resident. Not only myself, but with those who are present and the names that are presented on the petition. 85 to 90% of the residents living in the Green Forest subdivision are original property owners. So you can imagine moving there in the early 70s, since the establishment of Green Forest, 1971, those residents are now older, retired, and they're enjoying their grandchildren and great-grandchildren and those who visit them in that community, which they take pride in and have always taken pride. Having seen Green Forest is one of the quiet communities in the community. We don't have crime. We are very friendly to outsiders. We don't have our streets, I guess you could say, compromised with social issues that you have in communities. So it's a quiet, quaint community, not bothering anybody except wanting to live in a peaceful and having a peaceful enjoyment of their property. The Great Apostolic Church was established there, I believe, in the late 80s, going into the 90s. There used to be a convenience store there, which we saw go up over time. That store moved, Great Apostolic Church came in. Great Apostolic Church came in with a tributary on the other side of the property, like he said, he called it a waterway, bound by the Green Forest subdivision with no place to go. All the houses that's there now was there when they moved there. Just to satisfy the inquisitive of someone who may say, well, gentlemen blocked the road. I was a gentleman who went to them on that day that, and not to get into this, but just to show you that the church did have a funeral, and they did take up parking on the streets throughout the neighborhood. That was one time. And doing that, it blocked the street. It even blocked the street where I couldn't get out of my street. So nobody blocked the street. But the residents opposed to granting a special exception to the church. This is not the first time. This is about the third time. I represented the community the last time, about 6, 7 years ago, when they were here last. And the position of the residents have not changed. They do not want the integrity of their community compromised with a parking lot at the main entrance, one of the entrances of the two entrances that we have into the subdivision. They do not want their property, their community compromised. I bring the sentiment of a neighbor who lives right next to the property that they want to change to a parking lot, and she opposes having a parking lot right next to her property. I don't know anybody who will want a parking lot at the entrance of their community if you've been there over 50 years. So with that, we oppose the rezoning, giving a special exception to the Great Apostolic Church, Temple Church, for the purpose of parking. They do not live in the community. It is a transit church. People come to that church, and not to get into the relationships of the church or anything like that with the community, but there's been no friendliness with the church and the community. I've always been a representative in our community. We even met the last time, and the last time ended up coming before this board, which there are several members on this board now who were at that time, that you did not grant that request. So we as residents are asking you not to grant to the Greater Apostolic Church the rezoning request for a special exception, because we do not want the integrity of our neighborhood changed, or we do not want a parking lot put at the main entrance of our neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, I got a couple questions, Mr. Chairman. So just for clarification, I imagine that the existing church already has some type of parking, which it looks like it's probably on the backside of the church. Is that correct?
I don't know what's on the backside of the property. On the backside of the property, it's adjacent to the property.
So the current parking is on the front side?
On the front side, which is their own Morgan Road.
Okay, so the interest to the community that you're referencing, would that be using these street names? Is that on Mistletoe in Morgan, or where's the front of the neighborhood as you identify it? Is it on Morgan Road, Green
Forest?
Yeah,
Green
is that the
Forest,
front of the neighborhood?
Green Forest is on Morgan Road.
Okay.
Okay, but Green Forest has two entrances into the Green Forest community.
Okay. And so I was looking at.
One of those entrances is Shady Lane, and down the street next to, before you get to the Apostolic Church, is the next entrance into Green Forest. So you have two entrances into the community. Once you come into Green Forest, at the entrance near the church, as you turn into the community off of Morgan Road, on the left-hand side are 3 properties that the church owns that they want to convert to a parking lot. Behind the church is Mistletoe. So Mistletoe resident is abutted to the back of the property for the church that's on Morgan Road, but also next to the property that they own on the corner, which is the corner of Mistletoe and Green Forest.
Okay. And my last question, Mr. Chairman. So the properties that are there now are vacant, I assume, and the gentleman mentioned that they have experienced some increased crime because of the vacant property. And so my question, just for clarification, is you being a spokesperson of the community, that is a better option than the parking lot?
What is the better option than
the 3 vacant properties?
Well, in terms of the option, we don't see where there's an option as residents. The property is already there. And as far as we know as residents, as far as I know, which I keep up with in terms of our community, I'm not aware of a whole lot of break-ins or anything, and those properties, mind you, have been vacant. Those 3 houses have been vacant.
Right.
They were renting them out, but it's been a number of years since they have rented those properties. So even when he started talking about vacant or somebody just taking up in there, that's between them. We don't see that, and we have not seen that. And I have not seen any reports or heard of any reports about any break-ins on those properties or even with our own community. So that can dispel, to me, that dispels any of that in terms of having a crime issue. They do have a problem because they're a small church, they're not that large. They knew when they came to those properties, but I guess they didn't realize maybe that over time that they would grow. And not being able to, probably for whatever reason, they have not moved because of the growth of their church. Now they want to take advantage of properties that they own that they were renting at one time and turn those into parking lot. And we as residents does not want that in our community. When the residents bought in that, when we bought in that community, we bought with the idea that we will have the same enjoyment that we will have when we purchased, that we will not have any commercial entities coming into the community, and definitely not at the front of the community. That's like putting a funeral home, I want to put a cemetery at the entrance of the community.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Excuse me. There are others, a couple with me, if she may. I'll ask if you would, I know your rules, but if you just grant a minute.
Please. Good evening. My anxiety is very high due to the fact that
Give me your name and address.
my name is Johnny Young. I live at 3006 Mistletoe Avenue. I'm directly behind.
Ma'am, I apologize to you, but your time has expired. I assure you we understand the situation.
That's fine.
No, they don't.
It's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Sir, please, let me just tell you this.
Go
There's
ahead,
one other issue behind
Go
the
ahead.
fact that they say they have a break-in. Now, if they put this parking lot there, it's going to pretty much be similar to what they did when they flooded in '92. I live directly behind them. Our street, our backyard was level. When we flooded, they flooded, I flooded. They built their property up like this so that the water in the ravine, the ditch, can come over on me. Now, I'm afraid that when they get ready to put this driveway there, and people have lived there, and there is a ditch down there, and I'm pretty sure water goes into their home as well. They're gonna build that property up, and that's just gonna cause me even more anxiety. I live with a suitcase packed constantly because the church says that they love the community. I went to visit the pastor to speak. They wouldn't allow me. I went over to the white building. I came here and asked, why did y'all allow the church to build their property up higher so that the ravine, when the water come up, it would pour over on us? I would have been dead if it wasn't for my children getting me out the house, and we just forced and getting another lady out of the house. So if they do that paveway, that driveway, they're gonna up that thing as well. But we don't want that. I've been there 38 years, and I've been living in fear ever since '92. I don't want no more fear knowing that they're gonna put a driveway there, there's a ditch there, and they're gonna build that up because they're not gonna want any water to go on their driveway. Don't do that to us. Don't do it. That hurts. Y'all don't have to live like this. We shouldn't have to live like that.
Thank you, ma'am.
So please, I'm saying, please don't let them do that.
It's okay.
These are not what y'all think they are, because you wouldn't do that to people.
It's okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Was that all? I'm sorry. Was that it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Staff recommendation?
Planning and Development staff recommends denial of the special exception as it does not comply with Section 11-2B or Section 26-1 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance.
Motion to approve tonight. Second.
Motion to approve denial.
All right, so that's the motion on the floor to deny special exception 2413 by Commissioner O'Neill and Commissioner Prince. Want to do a roll call? All in favor? Do a roll call vote? Okay, so Commissioner O'Neill, how do we vote?
Deny.
Commissioner Prince?
Deny.
Commissioner Davis?
Deny.
Commissioner Malice? Commissioner Poozer? Is he there?
Deny.
Commissioner McKnight?
Deny.
Commissioner Clark?
Deny.
And Commissioner Owens?
Abstain.
And Commissioner Spencer?
Deny.
All right, so special exception 2413 has been denied.
Okay, last, agenda item number 6, SC 24-14, a petition by Widespread Properties on behalf of Denise Rich requesting a special exception to construct one-family detached and attached dwellings affecting property containing approximately 60.99 acres located at 2359 Old McDuffie Road. Current zoning is R1A and tax map number 083-0-107-03-0. Staff will present.
Good afternoon, to Ashley Catterton, Development Services Administrator. The summary for this request is a special exception to establish a single-family attached and detached dwellings.
We need to clear the back of the room, please. Amber. Go ahead. Thank you.
The applicant again, is requesting a special exception to establish single-family attached and detached dwellings. The parcel is approximately 60.99 acres of undeveloped wooden land. The concept plan presented with the special exception application proposes the following items: 74 detached dwellings and 67 attached two-story townhome units that are fee simple, a density of 2.3 units per acre. There will be a public road throughout the development with 2 neighborhood entrances and exits, a sidewalk on one side of the street, parking pads for each unit, a mail kiosk and open space, 2 stormwater detention ponds, a 10-foot street yard buffer, a 10-foot buffer on the eastern side, and a 40-foot buffer on the western side. This property is located within the South Augusta character area. And as I mentioned previously, with the findings, I'm so sorry, I didn't mention anything yet. With these findings, there are no zoning actions impacting the property. The site has access to public water, but not sewer. This property is not located within any special flood hazard areas. There are no wetlands, there are wetlands located on the property. Their public transit is not available near the property on Old McDuffie Road. According to GDOT, Old McDuffie Road is a major collector route. Based on the preliminary traffic impact worksheet, the traffic engineering department has indicated that there will not be a traffic study conducted. The development provides 2 parking spaces per driveway, which totals 148 spaces in the detached section. The development provides 2 parking spaces per driveway, which totals 134 spaces in the attached townhome section, where 168 are required. The development provides 47% open space, where only 25% is required. And the adjacent zoning is a mix of B2, general business, LI, which is light industry, agricultural, and R1E, one-family residential, and R1A, one-family residential. And as of August 26, staff has not received any inquiries regarding the petition as advertised, and that concludes staff's presentation. I'm so sorry. We're at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? Sir, if you'll give us your name and address and a brief outline of your development.
Bert Fine, Cranston Engineering, representing Widespread Properties, 452 Ellis Street, Augusta, Georgia. The reason for this application is to request a special exception from the R1A zoning district to allow for a reduction in lot size and a mix of attached and detached units. And the reason that we're asking for this is due to buildable area limitations and to meet the needs of today's market for affordable housing. Some of the buildable area limitations on this site involve the substantial wetland area. There's a stream that runs through the center of the property that bisects it from a northern portion and southern portion. The southern portion is where you see the lots laid out. The northern portion is landlocked between the stream and that upper property line, which makes it ultimately undevelopable without substantial impacts to those sensitive areas. There's also another stream that runs from Old McDuffie Road and ties into the primary stream on site. That's created from a pipe that runs under Old McDuffie, and we've had these wetlands delineated by a professional environmentalist, and we've already submitted a JD request to the Army Corps of Engineers. There's also a grave site on the property that was shown on a previous plat that was completed. This location is approximate on the concept. We plan to get a field located, but I believe the location's relatively accurate. It's right in the middle of the most desirable area to develop on the property, and it poses some challenges. Access will be provided from 2 driveways from Old McDuffie, and there's potential for a 3rd driveway if the stream crossing doesn't work out as shown. That will require a nationwide permit through the Corps. That would create a 3rd entry from Old McDuffie that would separate that eastern portion of the property from the rest of the development. It was just desired to have that connectivity there and create a contiguous neighborhood. Water's readily accessible from Old McDuffie, as staff had mentioned. There is no accessible sewer on the property. The plan for sewer has been discussed with the utilities department over the phone. There's a pump station shown on the low side of the site, right side of your page, that based on previous projects, it's our understanding that will need to remain private. AUD is no longer accepting pump stations for these sorts of projects. So that'll be on the developer and the HOA to maintain. That will pump up to a gravity line on the opposite end of the site up by Lumpkin Road, a new gravity line that will be extended to where you see the proposed sewer tie-in labeled. I would like to discuss some of staff's recommendations.
Wait, we're not at that point yet.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Are there any objectors to this petition? Any questions from the commission at this point? Commissioner?
In regards to the grave site, is it an abandoned grave site? Do you know the family?
The only information we have on that.
I think so.
Excuse me?
Go ahead.
The only information we have on that is that it was shown on the most recent recorded plat. I think it's just a family grave site. I don't know if the plat is provided in this presentation, but there was an old parcel that looked like a home site. So I assume that's what it's from.
And that being said, where I was going to go with it, if you're allowed to do your development, will that prohibit the family from finding that grave site, or you're going to? I'm seeing on your map there's a way to get to it, but I just want to have an idea.
No, that will be completely accessible from the development by way of open space and potentially, walking trail of some sort.
Are you going to be required to fence it in?
I believe that would be necessary, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I got a question. All right, so that area has a lot of dilapidated homes over the time. What I'm worried about is not using sustainable products in this development. One of them that concerns me is vinyl siding. Could y'all agree not to use vinyl siding on this project?
That's difficult to answer at this time. The developer and applicant is not a home builder. The marketing strategy here, as my understanding as the engineer, is to either market this to a developer that would build the roads and lots and sell them to a home builder, or they develop it and sell the lots themselves to a home builder. I believe they've got several on the table, but depending upon these meetings, upcoming meetings and approvals, not one has not been selected.
Staff, is that how it was approached to y'all? You follow me?
Say that again, Sonny, I'm sorry.
Is that what was presented to y'all?
Unfortunately, Amanda would be the one to answer that, and she's not here, so I don't.
Okay, I got it. Any other questions?
Just for the record, we submitted some elevations from one of the potential builders that were included with the request. I don't have copies of those with me, but they are in our application.
So that goes to another one. Would y'all be able to agree to no more than 3 adjacent facades being similar?
I'm sorry.
3 houses being similar, no more than 3 of the units being similar.
You good with that?
Sir, do you need to come up to a microphone?
Yeah.
Please give us your name and address, and you're part of all this.
My name is Chad Rowe. I live in Pawleys Island, 85 Aspen Loop, Pawleys Island, South Carolina.
So they're asking if
I couldn't hear you.
if you'd be okay with having no more than 3. Are you asking if we will have no more than 3 consecutive units side by side?
Yeah, that are the same elevation.
I think it's a fair request.
The elevation that you're showing here is I like them, and I think that's great. It's provided that you don't just pick one and build the whole place with the same, and that's some of the problems we've had. And what I'm asking, we've done this to similar developers, is limit them to 3 or the cookie cutters.
We're amenable to any aesthetic request that's simple to accommodate. The vinyl siding thing, I don't have a problem with that.
Right, and I've run into that, and I would even go as far as say, if you just require your builders to have a vinyl siding that has at least a 25 manufacturer year warranty would even help. The problem we're seeing is some of these developments, they get made and then everybody, they just fall apart within a few years, and it becomes an issue for the city.
Yes, sir.
I think that's a reasonable ask by the commission.
Any other questions? Staff recommendations?
Commissioner McKnight, did you say 20-year or 25-year?
25 years.
Okay, to address housing options in South Augusta character area, the planning and development staff recommends approval of the special exception with the following conditions. Number 1, the minimum lot width shall be 26 feet with a maximum number of 141 dwelling units. Sidewalks are required on both sides of the street. Number 3, provide guest parking spaces in the townhome section using 2.5 spaces per dwelling unit. Number 4, a wetlands permit is needed from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Number 5, the gravesite shall be fenced off to prevent encroachment. Number 6, provide 3 different facades in the single-family detached area not to be adjacent to each other. Number 6, should vinyl siding be used, should have a 25-year warranty. Number 7, a 6-foot privacy fence shall be installed in the rear yards of the homes that abut Old McDuffie Road and I-520. And number 8, the development of the property shall comply with all development standards and regulations set forth by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia, as amended at the time of development. And that concludes staff's recommendations.
Sir, do you agree to all the conditions?
I would just like to discuss a couple of those items. First of all, I'm not a home builder. I'm a land development engineer. Is that a common material that, that a home builder would be well acquainted with? A 25-year.
Yes.
Okay.
That's pretty lenient. There's ways, to get around that warranty too, but I mean, at least it puts a little something.
I just wanted to ensure that's a standard material type that wouldn't drive, a builder away from the development.
And we'd like to ensure that it lasts for more than 5 years.
Yeah, obviously. I just didn't know if it was a rarity or anything of that nature. The other item is recommendation 1 states that the maximum number of dwelling units should be 141 units. That is what's currently shown on this concept plan with a density of 2.3 units per acre. The maximum for the special exception request is 4 units per acre. I would like to ask the commission to consider allowing this stipulation to be held to 2.8 units per acre which would allow for 170 units maximum. In the event, there's been some discussion on that single stacked cul-de-sac road on the right side of your concept plan being townhomes, which would increase density slightly, but still be well under the maximum threshold. They just want some time to evaluate infrastructure costs and determine if that's a necessity to make this happen.
But you're not putting any amenities on this piece of property, just
that was a discussion we had this morning. There's certainly a desire for some amenities, whether it be something minor like a gazebo down by the wetland and stream area with some walking trails, or I don't see a clubhouse and pool type of amenity package here.
No playgrounds.
But lots of common space. You know, there could potentially be a courtyard between those where the townhomes have some separation from the single family. I think a small scale amenity package here is desired by the developer and builder.
But you don't know who the, never mind.
I hate to be the one asking, I'd love to put in the condition that we put in a walking trail and a gazebo, if the staff.
Could we say walking trail or gazebo or equivalent amenity?
Well, how about this, or as approved by the staff?
Yep. An amenity package approved by staff. I could agree with that there. The other items we're willing to adhere to, we initially showed 24-foot townhomes. We're willing to go to 26, which will be a challenge to hit these densities and add some community parking areas for guests, and go with sidewalks on both sides of the street. And fences are no issue either. So we would like to consider the 2.8 units per acre maximum to be added to that stipulation, as opposed to 141 lots.
The staff does not have an issue with that, because again, that gives them a little bit of flexibility that may allow for more housing on the property. So we could amend the maximum number of units shall not exceed 2.8 dwelling units per acre. And then we can also add shall provide amenities package to be approved by the planning department.
I think we're diving. Anything else you want, sir?
That would be all.
Well, he didn't agree. He didn't agree with it. There were a couple he's still contesting.
No, we agreed to the remaining.
Would you like me to relist them?
No. Everybody follows. Go ahead.
I have a question. So I heard you say something about the minimum width. Is that still going to be 26?
Yes, we're willing to go to a 26-foot townhome product.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Second.
Roll call.
All right, so there was a motion to approve special exception 2414 by Commissioner Spencer and Commissioner McKnight. And that was an approval with 9 recommendations? Deputy? How many do we have? Ten? Okay, so we're going to do a roll call vote. Start with Commissioner Owens. How do you vote on the approval of special exception 2414?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark? Approve. Commissioner McKnight?
Yes.
Commissioner Poozer?
Yes.
Commissioner Malice?
Yes.
Commissioner Spencer?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
And Commissioner O'Neill? All right, so special exception 2414. Staff 10 recommend.
Thank you. Anything from legal?
Chairman of the Department, nothing from legal.
Approval of the minutes from the last meeting?
Motion to approve minutes.
There was Malice and Midnight for the minutes. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, I'm listening.